I'd like to call the meeting to order at Town of Southbridge, a joint general government subcommittee / town council meeting, Wednesday, April 3rd, 2024 at 6 p.m. in the Veterans Room. This is being recorded by audio and video. Agenda item number 1 is call to order. Agenda item number 2, roll call. Councilor Marchetti.
Present.
Councilor Dow, not here. Councilor Montigny, present. Citizen Member Clemens.
Present.
Citizen Member Kelly.
Present.
And we have a quorum, 4 people here. Agenda item number 3 is review, discuss ratification of a commercial lease agreement between the Town of Southbridge, the Southbridge Airport Commission, and the Flight Deck LLC, located at 220 Airport Access Road, aka Airport Diner, for a period of 2 years, with options to renew at a monthly rent payment of $925. Entertain a motion to recommend to Town Council an act of ratification.
So moved.
Okay, Mr. Town Manager.
Thank you. I'm here with Rick, Chair of the Airport Commission. Very happy to bring forward Mike Ormowitz, him and his wife Sarah. We received 2 bids for the airport, 2 responses to the RFP. One was from the Flight Deck LLC, and the other one was from Honest Town Eats. There were 2 very good, very competitive bids. Came down to the hours that the Flight Deck said they would put in, and also the additional rent that they stated they would put in. So we move forward with conversations with them and to enter the lease, and the lease agreement is here. It is similar to the lease agreement that was given to the previous vendor that was there. And it's for that period of time, 2 years. They've already been up there working with the Airport Commission to make a lot of repairs, and I think if anyone saw on the Facebook page, all the repairs,
That's what I've heard, because
Yes.
they said, well, we're doing the lease tonight.
Yeah, so they've been working with the Airport Commission and the Airport Director to make those repairs prior to opening, because the goal is to open before May 4th, because there is an air show up there. So the goal would be for them to be open by May 4th. We're ready to move forward with their common vic license. If there's any questions, Mike is here and Rick is here.
Does anybody have any questions? Councilor Marchetti.
Thank you. I'm happy to see someone go in there. I am going to support it. It's just that my only concern is that somebody went up there and they started doing all the work before we even looked at the lease. I would think it would be reversed. You look at the lease, then you sign it, and then they start the work. But I think from what I've seen on Facebook, it looks like a good thing is going on. So I'm happy to support it. $9.25 a month, that's what, about $12 a square foot? Is that average?
It's above what we got before, so, I mean, we put it out for bid, that was what the rent we anticipate. And they are also responsible for the water, sewer, and the other utilities, so it's just that base rent and insurance. So, and they've done a lot of repairs. I probably put about 15 to 20,000 into it, as anybody can see. So we're grateful for that.
Right, thank you.
And don't forget the revenue of fuel goes up when it's rented out, so that's good for everybody. Mrs. Clemens.
Thanks. Yeah, I thought the lease certainly looked comprehensive. Good luck. No. And clearly, for the record, I mean, it was a good faith effort on your part. You understood that it goes before council, and there was always that option, right?
For clarity on the order of operations, if it's helpful, a stipulation in the lease is that we are open by May 4th, right? It's a requirement.
Right. So you're
that's
helping each other.
documented in the lease. And the only way we could do that and open to our standards was to, we've been up there every day since we got the call. So that's
We got blue paint on the sand.
I was there 10 minutes ago. So.
You're having spent a lot of time in that restaurant previously. It's good to see that someone is going to take good care of it and is investing yourself into it, so therefore it's got more commitment on your part. So I think that's
And their
wonderful.
commitment was too. I mean, Sarah, who's not here tonight, quit her job already to work full time up there.
Oh, wow.
And she was a nurse at the school.
She was the nurse at Tantascwa Junior year.
Oh.
So they had quite the
We're all in.
commitment.
So far.
Yeah, and I mean, and having gone through previous leases with the airport, I mean, certainly this lease protects the town, no doubt. I mean, as I said, there's a lot of, it seems to everything to the favor of the community and the town. So thank you for, being willing to do that. So I'm glad. This sounds great.
Okay.
Hopefully the council will approve it.
Thank you. I'll finish at the table and then go to Councilor Shenny, but Mr. Kelly?
Thank you. I just have a question in the lease article at 10.1 insurance coverage. Just wondering how we came up with the minimum limits on that.
That is through Meyer Carrier. Through Meyer is the Massachusetts Interlocal Insurance Agency. So they provide us what those limits should be.
Okay. And do you know where they're getting them from, or is it just based on their experience?
Yeah, that's what they ask us to ask for all people that we lease.
Okay.
Holiday Visions, they have to carry the same insurance coverage up there when they rent that property, and so it's the standard coverage.
And there's one other question I have, or it's not really a question, but a comment. Default in bankruptcy, Article 12, subparagraph A. There should be, I believe, an or after the semicolon at the end of
Subsection A.
subsection A. Should be an or,
He's probably right, yep.
because otherwise, if it's not disjunctive, then the courts construe it as conjunctive.
There's an or at the end of B, there's an or at the end of C. I think it's...
Oh, okay. Okay, Mike, I'm just gonna. I'll make sure that's changed for the council.
Thanks for that. All set? Okay. Councilor Shenny?
Yeah, maybe once the repairs are all done, we can go up for rebid. No, I'm only joking. My question is, the water and sewer bills. My understanding at one point in time that the water and sewer, the Dyna picked up for the whole facility. Is that true, Rick?
No, the diner has its own meters.
Okay.
And it's there for the water bill, so they're trying to get it so they're billed direct, so that's what we're trying to work on versus trying to bill the airport, then the airport has to get money from them. We're trying to see if we can set it up so it could be billed direct.
Thank you.
Thank you. No further questions, Mr. Chairman?
Just a quick comment. Welcome to Southbridge, and it's nice to see people investing in Southbridge that actually put skin in the game and like money into the facility itself. Good luck.
Thank you.
I heard that you sell a coffee cup for a certain amount. It's free coffee all year.
So what we're trying to do is emulate the breweries. They do those mug clubs.
Right.
So what we've started
Popular.
is it's called the Captain's Club, and basically if you join it, it's $125. It's primarily targeted at fly-in traffic to encourage them to fly in and buy gas. But we've seen quite a bit of interest from local Southbridge residents. It's $125. You get a T-shirt. You get a mug.
Hey, don't,
We
no,
hope to sell you a lot. It's okay.
do not sell the council.
Cool. I'm happy to hear that. That is a very good way to do the mugs. All right, anybody else? All right, seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? Unanimous of all present? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Really
See you
appreciate
Monday
it. Yeah.
I'll make sure you're towards the front, so you'll get out.
That's all you need from me.
That's it.
We're going to HTE for dinner. I'll see you.
God bless you. All right, agenda item number 4 is review and discuss the status of the bid for the replacement of security fencing gates at the Stockbridge Municipal Airport to be funded from a grant through the Massachusetts Department of Transportation, project number ASMP-2024-3BO-21, awarded on 3/21/2024. Recommend the town council allow town manager to review and award contract to the lowest responsible bidder per Massachusetts procurement.
Second.
Okay.
Discussion item.
Yeah,
There's no vote involved.
I'll
Well,
recommend
the
the town
vote,
council
the vote
allow.
is to allow me to proceed
Yeah.
with the contract if we can have it on Monday night, possibly. So as you're aware, we applied for a grant for the fence replacement. Mass DOT is paying for that full fence replacement at $1.4 million. We went out to bid, we received 8 bids. Those bids were evaluated by myself, Rick, Stantec, and they're still in the process of evaluation. We had a couple of questions where some of the bidders have raised some concerns with the other bidders. The higher bidder will say, well, you missed this piece of paperwork, you missed this piece of. So we have a call into the Attorney General's office. We're waiting for a response back from them in regards to those technical questions as to, there are some minor technicalities that you can waive and there's some that you can absolutely not waive. The majority of these, or most of these, were all minor technical issues, but we're getting a ruling from the Attorney General so that we can proceed accordingly. So they all ranged, with the exception of one, which was way over the bid amount, well, the project amount. So we will have to award per Massachusetts procurement to the most responsible, eligible, low bidder. So it was just that no one has to come to the town subcommittee first. We just wanted to let you all know this is where we're at with the bid process, because we have to have this job finished by June 30th, or we lose the $1.4 million. And that is because the Mass DOT gave us,
Extra
hey,
in
here you
keep-
go,
Yeah,
go for the
that's it,
grant.
that's it.
We applied for the grant, we got the grant, so the note on here that says awarded March 21st, literally that's when we got the grant award that says, yep, you have the 1.4. We were already in the middle of the bid. Anyway, we had gone out for the bid, and the bids were open on March 28th. So we're on a kind of a tight timeline, so that's why, not to usurp the authority of the council, but to try to give some leeway to the town manager to move forward with a responsible bidder once it's all evaluated and make sure it passes the Attorney General's muster.
Okay. So we have a motion and a second that the town council allow town manager to review and award contract to the lowest responsible bidder. Is there anybody who has any more discussion?
And hopefully by Monday, I will have all those results from Monday. So I just wanted to brief it here, so there was no conversation that it didn't go to subcommittee first.
So,
Yes?
yeah. I was gonna say that, and that being that council members are here and they can have discussion here and all, it gives them a good forum. That's one thing that we worked out so many years ago. I would say Stantec always does a great job. Obviously, it's again one of those moments where extra money was coming and we end up with that, even though it's a last minute situation,
Yeah.
it's still something that's happened before to us, but they've always been really good, having our back and making sure
Right.
we can get the most we can.
Yeah.
And of course, the airport commission staying on top of all the latest and greatest,
Yep.
certainly is to our advantage here in the community. So when I just had a question though, when you said some were missing, so potentially you could have two bids, one the lower and all, but somebody missing something? And
Or they could have,
therefore-
like, in one case, it was signed by a project manager, like all their forms were signed by a project manager, not a
Versus-
principal of the
right,
company.
right.
And one of the other companies is saying, well, that's not right, you're not supposed to do that.
Right.
So we
Yeah.
have, we're clarifying those things.
Okay.
Some you have to change unit price, the intent was there, but it may be on the form incorrectly, so they reconcile all that.
Right.
So those are termed minor
Yeah.
technicalities,
Well, that's
like the
what I-
non-collusion and all that are mandatory forms that you have to submit, which they all did. So they get down to the nitty gritty and a lot of these, and at the end of the day, it is the awarding authority's right to give the bid to the most responsible bidder that they find. And anybody
Right.
can protest it. That's why proactively we're going to the Attorney General's office to say, hey, this is what they're asking.
No, that makes sense, that's good. Yeah, great, another
Yeah.
thing up for the airport, so.
Yeah.
Do you have a plan B?
What's that?
What if the Attorney General comes back and says, no, you can't?
Well, the Attorney General will probably say, yes, you can go, or you have to go to the next bidder. That's the guidance they're gonna give. They're gonna give, yes, it's either a minor technicality, or you have to go to the higher bid. And it ranges, and it was almost immediate, the minute, I think, within an hour of the bids being open, one fence company came back and said, hey, they missed this, this, and this, you gotta give it to me. Then later on in the afternoon, I got it from the next one saying, hey, these all missed this, this, and this. And they have a lot of, from what I'm understanding, is they have a lot of people that they do that just to see every little thing that you can say, raise a flag, they try to raise a flag.
Were you happy with the bidders?
Yes, Stantec.
I mean, do you feel that regardless of whatever happens, you're gonna get what you want out of it?
Yeah,
I think so, yeah.
Stantec was very, they checked their references and everything,
Okay.
so they feel
That's
like
what's
they could do the job.
Great.
Good. Anybody else? All those in favor? Opposed? Unanimous of all present. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks for seeing Monday. Monday? All right.
Agenda item number 5, review and discuss job descriptions for an administrative assistant 2, collector dash utility billing S7 related to billing collection for utility accounts. There's no motion of any kind at the end of this?
I forgot to put entertain motion, so if you could add that, that'd be great.
For all these here?
Yeah.
Okay, very good.
Matt
do I hear
Matt
a
mentioned that the other day. So.
Motion.
Motion by Mr. Kelly.
What do we have?
We're on number 5.
I still feel, yeah. Someday we'll talk about emotions. Yeah, I'll second it. But it's just not.
We're adding a friendly amendment first?
You're making a motion and a second. He made the motion, she made the second. They're motioning to recommend this to town council. Okay.
So, thank you. As you're aware, we have the utility billing position, well, the utility billing that we now have to do with the curbside collection. We also have the water and sewer funding portions, or the water and sewer accounts later on in the fall, we're gonna, with the new billing software. So this position would move directly into the treasurer collector's office, work with it in the treasurer collector's office and be specific to water, sewer, curbside, plus any other utility billing that we might have, airport leases, the rental leases for the airport diner, tower leases. They would also do that kind of reconciliations as well. And this position would be funded out of the enterprise funds.
Okay. Councilor Marquetti.
So I understand the need. I'm just wondering if we talked about this last year actually, of just creating one billing department that handles all bills. If you think maybe that might.
That's what this person's gonna be. Out of the church.
I mean, creating a new department. Because we have a lot of bills that go to a lot of different departments here. Do you think it might be a good idea to create one billing department to handle it all? Taxes, water, sewer, trash, ambulance.
Excise.
Handle it all.
So, that is certainly something we can take a further look at. All collections come out of the treasurer collector's office. That's their responsibility. That is their department. So that's why this individual will report to the treasurer collector. And perhaps as we evolve the finance department, and there's a couple other changes that are going here, we can take a look at further development of that. But you know, if you do create another department, you're having another department head plus a billing clerk. So this person would report directly to the treasurer collector, who's responsible for all those functions.
Yeah, it's kind of like last week at the meeting when we're talking about the macroeconomic question of, are you going to fix the budget so we don't have to do as many transfers? We have the microeconomic fix here, but on a macro scale, it's something we could look at as the evolution continues, which is a great point, Councilor Marquetti. Does anybody else have anything on this item? Councilor Chenier. Sorry, didn't see you.
A couple questions. Who does utility billing now for the water and sewer?
Water sewer is currently in the assessor's office.
Does the water supply do any billing for the town?
No.
What do they do for the billing purpose of the town?
They send, I believe they send all the information into the assessor's office. The assessor's office then creates the commitment to do the billing. So they're responsible for collecting all the meter data and all that, and then they transmit it over to us for us to generate the bill.
Okay, the residents' addresses and the accounting and all that is done, not the accounting, the location?
Well, it's a combination between the assessors and the water department. So it's a combination. So they work in tandem. And my understanding, and I surmised this before Dean ever got here, the question kept coming back, why was the water sewer ever in the assessing department? It was because Dean was here and set up the water sewer billing, and he was the assessor. So it really should have been in the treasurer collector's office, but at the time, he was the only one available, capable to create that billing for the enterprise fund.
So this is a new position that's going to be in the
Treasurer collector's office.
Okay. So what happens to that position in
It's gonna stay there because that individual that's in that position is also responsible for motor vehicle commitments, assessing, and all that. So they're gonna have their time to be able to do that function in the assessing department. This will be totally separate. It'll be put out to bid. Anybody in the town hall could apply for the job, or how we do it. But
So-
it's a new position. It's not gonna be somebody transferred. Somebody's gonna have to apply for it.
So do we have to add that to the schedule? Because the schedule shows.
You know what, it is, I apologize, I probably would have to. There's an administrative assistant collector. There's an administrative assistant too, and we've had some conversation about why do we put, well, the administrative assistant 2 is in the salary schedule. It simply says administrative assistant 2, right,
It's in a S7.
S7. So this job itself is an S7 in the salary schedule of Schedule 1. Under Schedule 1, S7 is administrative assistant 2. It doesn't delineate each tax collector, assessor, economic development. It's just administrative assistant 2.
But now we've added a title to it.
No, this is we have a bunch of positions in the whole town hall, and Nora and I had this conversation. We have a bunch of administrative assistant 2s. We have an administrative assistant 2 in economic development, administrative assistant 2 in assessing department, administrative 2s. There's administrative 2s throughout the building, right? The individual departments then say it's administrative 2 collector's office, administrative 2 economic office. So the job itself is just administrative assistant 2. So they're going to be paid at that administrative 2. What did you say it was? I'm sorry.
S7.
F7.
That's,
Okay.
So like now, you have
So you're not creating
We
a
have-
new position.
administrative assistant 2 assessor's office,
Correct.
right? Doesn't say it in the schedule, it just says administrative assessor 2, but we have a job description for the specific duties they do in assessing. We have administrative assistant 2 data lister, assessor's office S7, right? It's a S7, so the salary schedule just says administrative assistant 2s are S7s. And then we have individual job descriptions for each department at that administrative 2.
Okay, but what you gave us for paperwork, the administrative assistant 2 collector / utility building, S7.
Right.
And it doesn't say that on the schedule.
It doesn't say S7 for any of the other positions either.
Okay.
We don't go on the salary schedule and list every administrative 2 under S7. It's just administrative assistant 2 is an S7.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Makes sense to me. Perfect.
So their job requirements are consistent with assistant 2s.
Correct.
And it's just each department maybe has a few different.
There are tweaks to whatever they
tweaks
do
it.
in that for.
And that's up to the
Yeah.
department.
And
head
on
to
the next
decide.
one is to
Exactly.
move the administrative assistant 3s to 2s because they are essentially the same as every other administrative assistant in this building.
There you have it.
So,
Okay.
for some reason, we have them at 3s.
Were 3s S7s?
Well,
No, 3s are S5s.
Because it doesn't say it on,
let's go
yeah.
back to agenda item number 5. I've got a clear vision of what you're talking about, but does anybody else have any questions? Mr. Kennedy.
Thank you. In the actual job description, under education, training, experience,
Yeah.
I believe you mean high school diploma is required? It's not high school degree.
It says degree.
Yeah.
And I just picked that up while I was reading it, so I thought I'd point it out.
No, that's fine. It's fine.
The other comment I had, I'm just curious, not that I'm asking for a change here, but I'm just curious, we say, as far as education, training, experience, we want a high school diploma as a minimum, but then we also say associate or bachelor's degree preferred, and I'm curious as to why we're saying that when we're saying 1 to 3 years of administrative experience or related field preferred. Is there a reason to require or not to require to prefer a diploma when somebody would have the experience or rather not a diploma, but a bachelor's degree or associate degree.
Yeah.
You know, and you know, it's just, are you, when you put that out there, are you unintentionally limiting the pool of candidates that may apply?
Well, I think it's a combination thereof, you know, everything's a combination of. I'll be honest with you, Michelle, the treasurer collector, Dean, and Nora worked on these job descriptions. They're not here this evening.
Right.
Nora
I'm just-
was ill tonight, so she's been out for 2 days, so.
Just curious, I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, some, you know, I think we're getting to the point where we're asking for an associate's degree to be a cashier sometimes. And I'm not, you know, it's not
Yeah.
not that I'm trying to equate the two jobs. I'm just saying that I think when you put that out there, sometimes you dissuade people. If it's not a requirement of the job, you sometimes dissuade people from actually applying for
Yeah.
it when they may be very well qualified.
Mhm.
So just-
The way I see it, it gives you an option to eliminate people with high school diplomas if you have people with higher experience, because it is clearly written that is preferred. So it gives the town the protection to choose who they need to choose, which is best for the job. But that's just the way I see it. Are you all set? Do you have any other
No, not
questions?
yet.
Okay, Ms. Clemens.
Thanks. It's funny, that wasn't up my point, but that makes a lot of sense, Mr. Chair, in that respect of being, but on the same token, you pick the diploma person over the associate's person, because just because you managed a couple of years in college doesn't mean you know how to really live your life,
Right.
or that you are very manageable,
Yeah.
that you have the skill set that they're actually looking for, that, you know, people who are understand it. I can't think of the word. But anyway, that's okay. I was looking at the numbers, and
The numbers is what?
yeah, $21.49 as a starting scenario here. You forget the diploma situation. You can go to the Burger King, whatever it is right on the back road on 15, and
Right.
I think they're advertising $18, $19, at least $19 an hour for Burger King.
No, and
I mean,
that's another question for another day,
with-
but that's why we
with
want to
no
at least
skill
get
set.
them.
I mean,
Yeah,
with no skill
so-
set, so I think this town's gonna have a bigger problem with that. I mean.
Yeah, I mean, that's,
Starting that-
that's,
It used to be a nice number, it's just not, and it's easy.
well, and that's why the conversation when we get to the assistant collector 3 to 2s is even more of a, because of what the duties they do.
Yeah.
And trying to, we're very fortunate with the individuals that we have working in that department now, very talented and everything, very, very good, you want to retain them.
Yeah.
And it's harder with the health insurance costs that I think Councilman Marquette, you brought up at council the other night. You throw in somebody that's a collector 3, starting at $19 an hour and pays health insurance. And
Yeah.
so we're trying to make it competitive and work it within the budget as well.
Right,
So,
and the only thing that's good is you don't smell like a greasy burger. but-
Right.
You
So-
know, other than that.
yeah, so,
I mean, it's a nicer atmosphere
yeah.
back here.
So that's where we're at on that.
Okay.
Is there anybody else that has any questions? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? Unanimous of all present. Agenda item 6, review and discuss change of classification from Administrative Assistant 3 Collector to Administrative Assistant 2 Collector. Two things. I want to recognize first that Councilor Dow sat down about 5 minutes ago. And secondly, again, I'm looking for a motion and a second that we recommend to the town council what is brought before us from the town manager. And seconded, okay. Marquetti and Dow, second.
So this is one that it's simply, they're working at an administrative 2 level. We want to move that up to that administrative 2 level, that we put it up in that pay band, but also their duties are commensurate with every other administrative assistant. It should be for consistency purposes. And at some point, we'll probably, well, we have the administrative 3, like some pages that work down at the library and things like that, so we'll keep that administrative assistant 3. But for this purposes, we believe that it should go to administrative assistant 2.
Councilor Marquetti.
So, this basically has nothing to do with the previous motion, they're not connected at all.
They're all going to be within one office, so all of those individuals are all going to be administrative 2s. And then Michelle's goal, and I think the goal that we are striving for right now, is to have redundancy. So some of those individuals that are in the administrative 2 also collector's office will also cross-train to be able to take on if somebody is out. Because right now, we're at a point where we only have one individual that does a certain function. If that individual is ill or something happens to him, we would be done. We wouldn't be done, but it would be a challenge. So we certainly are building capacity to make sure that people are cross-trained. So the goal of this is to have everybody in that office all cross-trained, all working. She's doing the same thing with her assistant treasurer and the assistant treasurer collector. You know, they're cross-training payroll and everything. We're building redundancy.
So it'll be the same answer as the previous one. There is no administrative 3/collector.
There
It's
is.
just that, that's what they call an inter-department, correct?
Correct.
According to the schedule there.
Correct. Correct. So we would just move that to an administrative assistant too.
So just so I understand this too, in the public, you have administrator twos in the schedule. In any department can have an administrator two and have different specific duties.
Correct.
And then there are administrative threes all around, and they can have specific duties in specific departments. But you're saying that the administrative threes in the collector's office should now be administrative twos in the collector's office.
Correct.
So then, in effect, there'll be no more administrative threes in the collector's office
Correct.
at all. Okay.
Well, that's not what I heard. I thought you were making all
No, it's,
administrative 3s
it says
All
administrative three
administrative
slash collector.
into administrative 2s,
Correct.
but not
It
just
says-
one office.
No, it does say that in the motion. It says administrative three slash collector.
I'm sorry.
Collector.
That's not what I thought I heard. But okay.
It's just the collector's office.
All right.
Because you mentioned the 3s exist in other places.
Other places.
But you're not bringing them.
No.
Just
Just the
collectors
collectors.
as it's written.
I got it. Thank you.
Because the duties in the collector's office
Are
are
very,
more detailed.
they're more detailed. It should have happened
With
a
our
long time
money.
ago.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
Awesome. Anybody else have anything? Councilor Sidney.
We're gonna take the administrative 2 positions, the administrative 3 positions, we're gonna make them administrative 2 positions,
Only in the collector's office.
Only in the collector.
only in the collector's office.
Correct.
Don't you think that that's gonna send off a wave within the town hall employees?
I don't believe so, because the duties that they do in that office is a lot more than the duties they do in the other. Not to diminish anybody else's value to the town, but the duties that they have in that collector's office are far outweigh what they do in another department.
What does the administrative 3 in that office do now? What's the difference? Because I don't have a job description for the administrative 3.
Well, it's the collectors, the 2 collectors that collect everything from, they already do they process all, I apologize, I should put it in, but they do all the customers, all the tax, they take in all the tax. Every person that walks in for the taxes, they process all that, process water and sewer bills when they come in, questions, they collect parking ticket fees, they handle all the mail, they balance the registers daily. Excise tax, everything. The 2 individuals that walk in there, that's everything that they do every day when you walk in here, what they're doing. That's what they do. Those are the 2 individuals we're talking about at the desk, front desk. And I'll put
I'd like to get the job description.
I will, I'll give it to you.
Before Monday night, you
Yep.
can just email it to me.
I'll email it to you, yeah.
Because I really have difficulty on what's gonna happen to the other employees that they feel is of value as much as the people in the collector's office. I don't know how many 3s we got,
There's no other 3s in the town hall.
none in the town.
None in the town hall.
There's pages at the library, that's it, he said.
It would be individuals at the town, at the library, and we'll take a look at that as well. But right now, for that office, we want everybody that's in the collector's office to be an S7. Bottom line, that's it. Everybody S7, they're all equal when it comes to their grain, because they're all gonna be cross-trained, they're all gonna be doing, with one doing specific to billing, but the other one supporting that billing as well.
All right, you can get me that.
Yeah.
Thank you, Councilor Dow.
Thank you, Chair, for you. What's the pay difference?
Goes up to the pay 7. So currently, Counselor.
About $2.
Yeah, isn't it 19 to
So-
21-ish?
The S5s that are working there right now make starting $19.52.
Start.
Start. And the S7s will make $21.49, $2 an hour.
A little less than, yeah.
And what will it come up to? Any limit? How?
How high it goes to?
Yeah.
So the high range right now in S, it'll change because we'll do the new schedule, but an S7 top step is 2612, and S5 top step is 2375.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Deb. Anybody else? Seeing none, all those in favor?
And I will get those out.
Opposed? Unanimous of all present. Agenda item number 7, review and discuss job description for Clerk Board of Assessors MS-19, and I am looking for a motion to recommend to Town Council for approval. It's second, okay.
So the reason for this is, and again, this is in conversations with the finance director, Dean. So as you're aware, we've had posted for a principal assessor for over, well, as long as I've been here. We have had no qualified applicants, no real applicants. So in conversations with my finance team, and Dean specifically, when Dean was here, his job description at the time actually was Clerk Board of Assessor. So what this will do is we do have an individual that I know I've mentioned before that is working in that office, that has applied for the job, however, does not have the Massachusetts Association Assessors or whatever that is. So what this would do was, rather than name them principal assessor and pay them at a principal assessor that would normally have that certification, other towns are doing the same thing because they don't have, there's a lot of openings out there. This would put them, because this MS-19 Clerk Board of Assessor was already in the schedule of, in our salary schedule. So it had already been there, it's been there forever. So what this would do at MS-19, we would bring that individual to that MS-19, give them 3 years to obtain their certification, at which point, if they gain their certification, then move them up to the principal assessor in the A schedule.
Understood.
Additionally, the water sewer is now coming out of that office, right? That was part of the assessor's function before, it was water sewer as well, so that would come out. They would still support the billing because obviously they have to provide resident data and all that to the billing clerk, but that's that was a goal. And what we would do within the budget itself is, we still know that the individual will need mentorship, so we would take the difference that we have currently budgeted and retain Will as a consultant to work with her on a weekly basis to make sure that things continue to flow. Because Will had submitted his letter of resignation as the principal assessor because he was going away for the month of April, and quite frankly, he loves the consultant role. He does not want to be in the day-to-day role, but I am very grateful for the work that he did because there were a lot of issues that he took care of while he was here in a short period of time. So this would just give us flexibility and give us the opportunity to fill that position, mentor an individual, get them trained, and there's, as we say, there's a carrot at the end, right? You go and get that 3 years and write it into their offer letter that that's specific, and hold them to that, because what we found is that a lot of individuals have been given offer letters and said, do you have so much time? And it's fallen through the wayside that now we're in cleanup mode trying to take care of that. But that is our plan anyway.
Councillor Jeff?
Thank you, Chair, through you. So the MS-19, when we create that person move up, are you gonna eliminate the job he's in now, the position, or not? We're gonna keep it open?
No, that would be you'd have to fill it because it's an admin 2 data lister. So that individual is the one that goes out and verifies all properties and all that. We would backfill that position.
So we added in more,
We're not adding a position.
but you're moving that person from where he is now till MS-19? Just trying to.
Well, it's going to be a promotion, and then you backfill the position they're in. We're not adding a new position.
Okay, but you don't.
You still need somebody to do the data lister and go out and verify properties, because as Will explained last time around it, you have to do so many properties, you know.
So after 3 years, that person, if he gets certified, whatever you have to get you move up one position, then
We
you
would not fill the clerk, no, it would just be a change in grade. Just a change in grade. You would move
When you
in the
open a
grade.
position like this, in 3 years, that person move up, you gotta give it a chance to another
It's-
person.
No, it's the same position, it's just a change of grade. So they're gonna, you have two grades. They never eliminated off the salary schedule, which is good. We're just reinstituting it, and then that person, once they get to that position, would move in grade and say, okay, now we'll move you to a principal assessor.
Just for clarification there, this is basically the promotion within that we've been discussing.
Correct.
Except there's a principal assessor that has the certification, and then there's this new job that has been parked in the sidelines for 20 years or whatever. So this is basically making them the assessor without the certification.
Right,
And then
which you can
they
do
get the
because-
certification, you would promote them to
Principal
real
assessor,
principal assessor, and you shelf this old,
You would promote them to principal assessor.
you shelf the old position again.
Oh, yeah, we would just,
Somebody else.
Because you don't need that position if you have a principal assessor, but we don't have a principal assessor. We have an assessor,
So-
someone that is ready to be principal assessor that just needs to get their certification.
So we're gonna approve it. On 3 years, that position will be taken off complete after 3 years, or we have to?
no, you would retain it, and you would just move that individual to the new pay grade. That would be put into their offer letter too. And if you look at the certification program to become the MAA, I believe it is, right? MAA, you have to be in an assessing role for 3 years before you can get certified. So she's already taken her 100 class, which is a bare minimum. She's taken the 200 program, which is the next one out, and she's scheduled for the other programs that she has to take. So you have to serve as an assessor or in an assessing department for 3 years before you can even get the certification.
Yes, please.
It's great, you planning ahead what nobody else did in the town before. I'm not sure. But my concern is we changing a lot of description in the job, and we added, we not eliminate anything. It's not kind of more expensive on payroll for the town and budget and all that, or no, everything is the same, the budget same, everything,
The budget stays the same.
nothing is coming extra, nothing is changing.
We'll save money now because
Well, no, because
No,
we're not
we're
gonna
gonna pay
save
Will.
money because we're gonna use Will as a mentor and transfer that salary into a special.
right, you get two positions that you have a consultant and an assessor without certification for the price of a principal
That
assessor.
is gonna move to their certification, which the law gives them, well, they have to do it for 3 years.
Absolutely.
So it's not like we're sitting here going, hey, we're hiring an uncertified person. Other towns hire people without the certification and give them 3 years to get to it. If you look at a bunch of the job descriptions out on MMA, they must obtain, either have it or obtain it within 3 years of employment. All this is doing is rather than saying to somebody, hey, we're gonna pay you at principal assessor's minimum, right? This gives us a little flexibility to say, we're gonna bring you in as the clerk of the Board of Assessor, and you're gonna work to get to that in 3 years. Because, I don't know, sometimes a lot of people have very good high thoughts about they come in and, oh yes, I'm gonna go get the certification, and then, well, I'm busy, life, this and that, right? It doesn't happen, and then 5 years down the road, they still haven't taken the test, and we're saying, what are you doing? This gives us a pathway to hire somebody that has the minimum qualifications to be an assessor, right? Give them a pathway to get certified. And oh, by the way, if you do everything you're supposed to do in those 3 years, and the support that I give you, you now can move up to principal assessor. Does that make sense?
It makes perfect sense to me. Yes, and
One
Councilor
more
Dow is
question
still on
and
the
I'm
floor.
done. Let's say we give that person 3 years chance to go get that certificate and whatever.
Right.
And then 3 years from now, he got it and says, see you later. That position we're gonna create now, we're gonna hire another one 3 years to serve the
It's
same.
possible. It's possible that you can. Every town's dealing with this right now. People are moving everywhere. They call up and they say, "We had Will here." There was 4 towns that called him and said, "Hey, will you come work for us?" I mean, there's not enough people out there.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Dow.
Okay.
Ms. Clemens?
So the other thing is, two things. Will you keep that job? Oh, like what if somebody came to us and said, hey, I want this job, principal assessor? Would you continue with the 3-year plan for that person? Is that
I would say
agreement?
yes.
Okay.
Yes, I would say yes, absolutely,
Right.
because we gave them the offer, and that's.
And I don't think what they're, so that person in MS is doing the principal assessor's job for the next 3 years. They're capable, they're just not certified. So they're doing the job at the lower rate, and that's why Will's overseeing to make sure they do it right. So
Well, to
that's
give
where-
mentorship and training.
Right, that's what I'm
Yeah.
saying, yeah, but I don't think that was coming across that way.
Yeah.
So, because you keep saying, well, then we're gonna have a new job, gotta hire someone. They're doing the job, they're
They're
just not
doing the
getting
job.
paid principal, they're getting paid because they don't have certification, so they're here. That's, yeah.
Yeah,
Nothing
we're just
changes.
trying to,
Yeah, nothing changes.
we're trying to fill a position.
No, I understand,
Not
I
create,
understand.
no, I know,
Yeah.
but for everybody else.
Yeah.
We're trying to fill this position with somebody that's capable of doing it.
And already has knowledge of our
Has knowledge
system,
of
they're
town
already
and
here, they're already,
everything,
yep.
that Will really believes can do the job and
Right.
wants to mentor. And when we had this conversation about how could we do this and make it fiscally responsible,
Right.
provide some mentorship and training, and go the right way, that this was the creative plan to say, hey, let's do this.
Right. And I can say, this has been done before, it hasn't always panned out, that's the truth. Finance department, there was something about that, I believe that was finance, not the treasurer, where we had hired, we were gonna, oh, they can get trained, or they're gonna get, but then they left us before they finished. Or they might have got trained. There's the other thing, are we putting in a codicil that you have to stay, because they're getting trained on us, correct? We're paying for this, correct? So are we going to require them to work a couple of years afterwards, or pay back the training or anything? Are we doing anything? Because I believe we lost somebody.
I know, Dean and I have had those conversations, and we have talked about putting that into the offer as well.
Because there are places that do that, there are other organizations, other jobs
Yeah.
that people are required to give
Yeah.
back so much or pay back, one or
Right.
the other. So if we are actually facilitating the classes in some way, shape, or form from taxpayer money, then I think.
There's gonna be expectations in that offer letter.
Right, it
that
shouldn't
we
just be
talked
as
about.
easy as it's been in the past.
No.
Because I know we've done it and I know people have left, so
That's exactly what
I
I'm
would just
trying to say.
encourage
Yeah.
that.
So.
Or, okay.
Okay, Councilor Marquette and Councilor Shinner.
Yeah, so basically, just let me get this straight, because there's a lot of going on.
Yeah,
You're just changing the job description, that's all you're really doing here. That's what
we're still gonna have the principal assessor's job description. What we did is made this job description at the MS-19 level
Okay.
that has very much the similar principal assessor. So there's still a principal assessor,
Right,
a whatever it is, job description, and then this is clerk board of assessors job
Right.
description at MS-19.
and then I see in here that you want this person to get the Massachusetts accredited assessors
Yeah.
certification within 3 years.
Right.
But in the job description, it does not say, once you get that, we're gonna make you the principal assessor. That's just something that
We
you
would
were
put in
doing.
a job offer letter or
So
something
it has
like that.
nothing to do,
Yeah,
okay.
it doesn't have anything to do with job
Thank
description.
you.
Thank you. Councilor Shinner.
So I understand correctly, you got the assessor, and you got 2 employees, other employees in that office.
Yeah.
The assessor's position is not gonna be filled, or it's gonna be a specialized service, Will's gonna come in as
No.
per diem?
No, there's gonna be a assessor, but it's now gonna be called clerk board of assessors.
Okay, so what happens to that clerk's job that person is presently in?
Has to be backfilled.
So we're gonna have,
The same 3 people in that office
plus we're gonna have Will come in and doing work,
on a very, very limited basis as needed.
right, so.
He's not gonna work like he's working now.
Right, and I understand that. So that means we're gonna bring somebody in and train the clerk's job.
We're gonna have an assessor who is, instead of being called principal assessor,
Right, I
will be
understand.
clerk board of assessor.
Right.
So they're the assessor. For all intents and purposes, they are the assessor,
Okay,
right? And then you still have the data lister and then the other admin assistant, which does the motor vehicle commitments and all that other stuff.
okay, so that's.
So it's gonna be still,
Structure there, okay.
Right.
My other question is, in the job office, I would, and maybe you're gonna plan that, anything. over the next 3 years, I'd like to see what goals or accomplishments are made, so we don't wait till 2.5 years into this thing, and the person still is way off from getting it and coming up and saying, geez, I need, we have that issue going on now. So, are you going to have expectations of where that person's going to be over the
Benchmarks.
3 years?
Yep, and they'll be held to it as long as I'm still here. And I don't plan on going anywhere unless,
And that's going to be in the job offer.
yeah.
Okay.
Mr. Kelly.
I guess I understand this. The person is in the office right now that we intend, that you believe is going to take this job, okay? And they're at an administrative 2?
They are an admin 2 data lister.
Okay.
Okay.
So we're going from there to an MS-19, which seems to be a significant increase.
They're going to be now, they applied for the assessor's job,
Mhm.
the principal assessor's
Okay.
job, okay? You're still going to have an admin 2 data lister. So,
So you'll have to hire somebody for the admin 2 data list.
correct.
Correct.
And the principal assessor is going to remain vacant.
Correct. Yeah.
Instead of having a principal assessor, the job simply is going to be clerk board of assessor.
Okay.
Essentially the same duties.
So it's basically the same job, okay?
Correct, just on a different
So-
part of the pay schedule.
And we're looking at maybe 3 years before this person could be qualified to be an assessor. Be
Well,
principal
have to
assessor.
certify.
Be
They have the qualifications to be an assessor right now.
Well, they don't have the qualification to be the principal assessor because you need a certification for that, right?
You don't necessarily need the certification to be that. What we're trying to do is take a person that has most of the qualifications, and I guess trying to give them a pathway to earn to the higher level without giving them $83,000 to start with no certification or no experience as an assessor. Do you understand what I mean?
I do. I guess one of my concerns would be to make a promise and an offer that wouldn't be effective for 3 years, because we have no idea what's going to happen in the future. And I would say certainly if this person's qualified for this job, then they could become the clerk board of assessor would be maybe an appropriate position for them. But then to say, well, if you do X, Y, and Z, we're promising you a job 3 years in the future.
It's the same job. It's the
It
same
may
job.
be, we're saying we're promising you the promotion in the future. I'm not I'm really concerned that we don't have a crystal ball. We don't know what's going to happen 3 years from now. The town budget-wise could be in a very different state,
Oh, you're right.
positive or negative, where maybe we're not going to be able to support that. So I'm just be concerned about making such a promise now that we may not be able to fulfill later on.
When you look at the salary, oh, I'm sorry.
Or there are personnel changes, and perhaps other people have different goals, and I within that time, I'm not comfortable with saying to somebody, we're gonna put you on this path, and we're gonna promise you 3 years from now you're gonna get promoted if you stick with the path.
So if you look at the salary schedule though,
Mhm.
they're still gonna go up in steps, right? So when you, right? So when you get up to the step by the number of years, they'll probably be very close to the step 1 of a principal assessor by going up the steps. So do you know what I mean? So as they go up the MS-19 step, right? When it gets to that point, it's probably, and they're only gonna go to a principal assessor AA step 1. It's gonna be very close. You're not talking significant dollars at that point. You're talking very little gap.
Right.
You're just moving them up to that next band.
Right. All I'm saying is that we have to be
No,
concerned
absolutely.
about
Yeah,
making
every day.
promises into
Yeah.
the future that we may or may not be able to fulfill. I mean, if we have, for instance, if we have a budget crunch and we have to put a hiring freeze on.
So the option right now is to just make them an AA because that's the job description we have now. And simply say, okay, council, you want to do this and you don't want to go this pathway, the only path that we have right now is an AA for that job description.
And thankfully, we're not voting on any offer letters, we're voting on a job description.
Right, I'm just,
You know?
I just say to the, you
It's
have to
done.
have an assessor, and the assessor's already got a AA
AA.
position. So technically, in a few years, you have to have an assessor. We have to have an assessor at some point, a qualified assessor in this community.
Yeah.
So at some point, 3 years from now, I don't imagine that number's gonna go down. You never know. But an assessor's an assessor, you know. My concern is that we're gonna keep that assessor after investing in them.
Yeah.
That person is going to
That is
retain
the goal.
here.
Yeah, that is the goal.
They have longevity and that they're gonna stay.
Right.
That would be my concern, because we don't want to invest money in something in a bad deal.
Yeah.
So, and I know we have.
what more?
Councilor Dow?
Chair, through you. Let's say we get that job, the person was promoted, and now somebody show up want the assessor job. We keep that person the 3 years and we hire them.
I'm going to keep the person that has decided to be here and wants to strive to be in that position.
And it's
Because
great.
nobody's knocking down the door to come here. With all due respect, I have had that job. I've
No,
had that
I
job.
don't want you to get offended. I know
No,
what you're
I'm not
talking
getting
about.
offended.
We're
I'm
just
just saying.
trying to
No, no.
understand the future, you know.
That I would never say to somebody, I'm invested in you. People know that I invest in people here, right? I value you. I'm going to give you the pathway to learn, to develop, right? There has been nobody that has come here to apply for this job in the 7 months that I've been here, right, that has better qualifications than the individual that applied. She's already applied for the job. We have held off, right, to come up with a plan to see if, hey, is there somebody else coming forward? Is there some? No, you know, and that's why.
With all my respect, I understand where you come from, but again, if the person came and applied for assessor job, they have all the qualify you need. You're gonna say no, we have somebody training him. And if it's 3 years from now, you hire that person, and 3 years from now, you spend money and you teach that one. Now time to take over. Are you gonna get rid of the one?
No, because I'm hiring this position. This position's full. We're not posting for another position ever again until the position somebody leaves.
So, Mr. Manager, I'm sorry to.
you know what
Are
I
you
mean?
saying principal assessor is not going to be a position that you can apply for anymore after we
No,
fill
it's
this?
just a change
gonna
in the
go-
band.
We won't.
I just wanna
There'll be no
understand.
opening.
There'll be no more open.
There's no opening. It would just simply be
Right.
a change
So there's
in
no one
the
to
employee.
refuse.
There's-
And meantime, we're gonna use Mr. Well Conoyer for his certificate.
No.
Not for his certifications, as a mentor to provide mentorship to
Any
this individual.
responsibility town is gonna have or harm because that person doing that position don't have the certificate?
No. No, because towns all over the place are hiring them, saying you have so much time to get it.
To that point of all this.
Yes, Ms.
Yeah.
If the person, thank you, Mr. Chair, I'm sorry. If this person is going forward and then suddenly gets stuck, so we say benchmarks obviously are
Yeah.
where you completed, but what if this person, because I've seen this happen in business before, where somebody goes and gets a promotion and they probably should have been a supervisor, not a department head. Do you know what I mean? So what if this person doesn't end up, or you start to see that they aren't
Then we have to
capable
make
of managing,
decisions.
then- But I'm saying there needs to be an out clause somewhere.
Yeah, I mean, we'll work it out and whatever
Alright.
we have to
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like sometimes all the best intentions and you say, oh, this person's really well qualified, and then they can't handle something about the job that they didn't really realize it was, that's all, and
Yeah.
just something to be aware of going forward, that's all. Okay, thank you.
All right, so
I'm good.
we're just voting on this job description.
Correct.
And by doing that, it allows us to have an assessor. You can have a clerk board of assessors be an assessor. You can have a principal assessor be an assessor. Same way you can have a teacher with a bachelor's or a teacher with a master's. It's the same job. It's qualified to do the same thing. One makes a little bit more money, but I'm good. If everybody else is good, all those in favor? Opposed? Unanimous of all present. Agenda item number 8, review, discuss the transfer request in the amount of $64,167.99 from various accounts to fund Assistant Treasurer Collector, Executive Officer Operations, and a contracted position in accounting. Entertain a motion to recommend the Town Council for approval.
So moved.
So I'm sorry.
Give me a second. Okay, thank you. And my first question is the
It should be-
contracted position is in accounting, is that the consultant?
I'll add in the correct account numbers because this was a little funky. It should be from 001152511000 salary full-time to the various accounts. And then it would go to those other accounts.
And you'll reflect that properly on Monday.
I'll reflect it in the motion, but.
Very good.
And what this is that salary full-time is out of the human resources, that's Nor's old position, human resources specialist, that we then move the position down into the treasurer's office. That is the new assistant treasurer collector. We moved that position down earlier in the year. And then also to fund in the town manager's account, which would be Dean, who's here part-time, not for me or anybody else, just that's Dean's salary, which is not a salary full-time. And special services accounting, which is for Lori Delolio that was here for the, and other accounting services that we have.
Okay. Anybody have any discussion? Councilor Marquetti?
Thank you. The specialized services, I was sitting here during the budget last year, and that was zeroed out in accounting. I don't understand why it was zeroed out, but I know Christine was sitting right here, and they did ask her about that, and she said she didn't need the money, so.
She didn't need it then, but then we brought in specialized services to help with the end of the year and all that.
Okay.
When we
So
did the
that's-
end of the year accounting,
So I
How
thought,
about
I
one?
thought we already had somebody helping out.
we
At
do,
that-
but we have
At
to,
that time, so,
when?
during that period, I thought.
During budget period?
Last year, yeah.
No.
We didn't?
No.
Okay.
Remember when I came aboard, we needed help closing the end of the year?
Yeah,
We have that specialized services, so.
okay. All right.
Thank you, Councilor Marquetti. Anybody else? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed, unanimous of all present. Agenda number 9, adjournment.
Mr. Chairman,
Oh, yes, Mr. Councilor Shenier.
if I may, I'm not sure if it can be properly done, but I know. in the
Neither am I.
What I would like General Government Subcommittee to do is to make a recommendation to the Board of Health to extend the opting out that it's expect to, I believe, expire on Friday of this week. I don't know about you, but I've received numerous calls from people that don't understand the opt-out, and they're concerned that the opt-out is going. So I would like to know if the subcommittee could make a recommendation to council, to send a letter to the Board of Health and ask them to extend the opting out period.
Is that necessary? I mean, like, I would like, I hear what you're saying, but is that necessary?
Isn't it?
But do we really
Yeah,
have
they
to
can meet
rule on
any
that
time
as general
of
government subcommittee, is what my question. Whether I agree with you or not, I do, but does general government need to do that? Board of Health kind of operates on its,
They do, they operate on their own, but what I'm suggesting is that the council send a letter to the Board of Health if they extend the opt-out. It's a bylaw change that can go before the Board of Health at any time.
we're not supposed to discuss this, but I mean, it doesn't
Right,
really
but
matter.
I don't
By
think
the
you
time
can
it
make-
comes to the time.
I mean, thank you.
Go ahead, this is fine.
I know what you come from, and I heard that too, but we can't, because now Casella is not picking up the trash anymore, the town paying for it. So, next week, Monday, if we extend that, those people are still getting their trash pickup for free. That make sense to you?
I will say people on the internet are under the impression that there is no deadline to opt out.
Correct.
I'll have to follow. This is the first I've heard about this deadline today.
Isn't today the launch of the opt out?
Right.
We started the opt-out on Monday
Okay.
and got the website all set. Everything's all set operational that they can opt out. I wasn't.
The problem was, and I know I harped on this, but this should have been going out a month ago so people could plan for this.
Mhm.
Nothing went out, people didn't know about it. It's a good idea, but I think if it's expiring at the end of this week,
That's
Then
just
how is the
some things
council-
that I've heard.
Yeah, I
How's
think
the
that's
council gonna vote
I
for
think
it?
that's completely unfair to the citizens.
Correct.
so the council doesn't meet until next week.
I understand that, but it's a bylaw change that the Board of Health can change at any moment.
I see.
And then tomorrow night, I do not believe it's a public hearing. The public hearing has already been done, and I think tomorrow night is just further discussion for potentially changing something later on. I could be wrong.
Mr. Chairman,
I think the town manager brought up that they're meeting tomorrow night. If any councilors want to go and recommend or bring forward your complaints, I would, as Denise said, it's a recommendation. You can go to the meeting and speak and recommend it. And I think, you know, yeah, it is, I was told Friday, that's it, you're getting a bill. So tomorrow night is the shooting salute, more or less.
Well, I don't want to belabor this conversation, we can have it at another time. Bills are gonna go out based on who we have right now. Now, whether, I don't know where this drop dead date came from, I really don't. People, if they decide to opt out, contact us. I mean, there's gonna have to be a process as to how much we bill and all that. But so I'm not sure where all of this is coming, because nobody from the Board of Health or the Inspections Department, the Public Health Director, has contacted me about this. So I'll follow up on this tomorrow. I'll get back to the
When's the
council.
order, when they offer?
It would make sense there'd be some sort of abatement if you do it in May 10th. Right, like anything else. But anyway, this really isn't the purview of this, and I would encourage people to go if you're concerned tomorrow night.
For sure.
And Ms. Clements, do you have anything left before we
No,
adjourn?
I would just like to say that I think that this has been beaten to death with this community, and people have known. I've gotten many, many things in the mail, and it's been all over social media, and I can't imagine that just today, Councilor Shen, you heard this, if it was, then it should have come before, 2 days before, and the committee be changed, you know, that our agenda be changed. I just, you know, just saying, it's out there. And if you didn't know anything by now and been beating it up for 2 years, 3 years,
Everybody goes online.
I don't either, but I've heard it, it's out there, everyone talks about it, so.
Okay,
We should be though.
motion to adjourn.
Second.
In this town?
All those in favor?
I'll speak to him.